On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks fall to the Chicago Bulls, and it did not look pretty, but we will explain why.
And Jason Kidd says Luka Doncic is average tonight, but he meant it I think in a good way, because Luka can't be superhuman every night.
We'll talk about that and explain why on today's Locked On Mavs.
Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks Postgame.
Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and coordinator for the Locked On Podcast Network. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com. The down dude, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
The Dallas Mavericks are 7-4. One of the best teams in the Western Conference. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Now, in all seriousness, this was a defining game, I think, for me. I think a lot of fans were already there in the fact of, or in the camp of, hey, this Mavericks team, I don't know if we're very good at all. All of that. I didn't think we were in the top, tier, but I thought we were right underneath that. And just like still tinkering, figuring some things out. I don't think we're in that tier. I think we're middle of the pack in the West, and we still had a lot of things to figure out. And there's not a lot that you can be positive about right now with this team outside of Jalen Brunson.
There's a lot to figure out, and we'll talk about most of it on today because this was a defining game for the Mavericks against the Bulls. So we'll explain all of that. This episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving the community since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. Reminder, Locked On Mavs is free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. Subscribe and get us to 9,000 so we can, love you 9,000 or over 9,000 or whatever that is. All right, Isaac. So the Mavericks lose. After the game, Jason Kidd says that Luka Doncic was average. And I think this is where we start because Luka Doncic makes this thing go. Jason Kidd sets up all the pieces. Luka Doncic knocks them all down, right? Like this is how this team was built. This is how this team is. Luka Doncic finished this game with 20 points, 8 boards, 10 assists, 4 steals, only 4 turnovers. He also had a block. And Jason Kidd called him average. Was he right to do that?
Yeah, he was. He was. I mean, he was 16% from the floor. I still don't think he's moving really well on the floor, and he meant it in a good way though, of saying, hey, he was average, but we can't expect him, to be superhuman every night. And he said, and on the end of that quote, he also said his average is really good. So when I heard that, it wasn't he's making a knock at Luka, and that he's being honest because Luka isn't playing at the level that Luka can play at. And when we look at this Mavericks team, and they're 7-4, like we said, none of us are happy watching this team. Like they're not one of the best teams in the Western Conference. All of that. I know the trendy, fun thing to do is like to pick a role player on the Mavericks and be like, that player shouldn't, see the floor, or that player should be replaced by this player. And it's like,
and some of them shouldn't see the floor anymore. We will get into those for sure. Like okay. Those can be true, but it's not the only thing.
Yes, there's literally one player that I say that about right now, but like I get the whole like, oh, Dorian's struggling. Even Dwight Powell, like some of these guys, I get all of that. But those are not the main reasons the Mavericks are like right now. Like one of the main reasons why is Luka has not played at the level that Luka is used to playing at. We're 11 games in. Luka's not playing at the MVP type of level that they have to have him to play at. And Kristaps Porzingis just isn't the second star right now. So like it starts with the top 2 guys on your roster. That's where it is. And neither one of those guys are playing up to the potential that either one of them can play at.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Luka, like I mentioned, all the counting stats that were positive in Luka's favor, but you look at the shooting splits, the shooting splits, and then the plus minus, which is the minutes that Luka was on the floor. The Mavericks were outscored by 20 points, right? That's very telling. It was like 18 points in the first half. I mean, it's a very weird thing right now, but the Mavericks are not good when Luka's on the floor, whether it's the lineup around him, but he is also not outperforming so incredibly like he has been the last couple of years, to where he takes over for everybody else. And if other guys are underperforming around him, then he's able to fill in. But Luka was 6 of 18 from the floor shooting. He was 1 of 6 from 3. He did hit 7 of his 10 free throws, and that was the free throws were the only thing keeping the Mavericks in this game early. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but Luka was average, and Jason Kidd meant that Luka was average for him, right? Not like an average NBA player. Yes. He meant he was average for him, and I'd have to agree. And it's one of the reasons why the Mavericks have been, not great on offense so far this year.
Yeah, well, you look at his averages. I mean, last year he averaged 27 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 35% from 3, 48% from the field. You look at what he's at, going into tonight, which tonight didn't help these averages, but going into tonight's game, he was at 24 points a game, 6 assists, a couple assists down, 8 boards a game, said the same, 29% from 3, which that went down after tonight, 44% from the field, that went down tonight. So, he's just not, and he's the first person to tell you this. It's not like we're going against the grain here. Like Luka, and I get it. I saw some tweets even before the post-game presser and for post-game quotes from the players of, "Oh, Luka's is going to take the blame." Okay, well, like Luka knows it. Like, Luka said after the game, he even alluded to saying, "Hey, like, I got to do more than just saying this. Like, I got to actually do something different. I got to play. I got to play better. It's not just me talking this after the game." So he knows it. The Mavericks know. Like we all know it, that he has to play better. But you also mentioned this on yesterday's pod. You brought up the the on off numbers for Luka, and you tossed it out to me. And my response to that was, that just shows me that the Mavericks haven't found the right combination of players around Luka. And I think that has a lot to do with it whenever you look at these numbers, the on-off stuff of like who he's playing with.
Absolutely. There's two things at play. I mean, there's multiple things at play. We mentioned that this game kind of showed all the things that are wrong with the Mavericks, but Luka's not playing well, and the team, the roster around him, or the lineups around him right now, have not been good either, right? There's both things can be true, and both things have been true, and that's why the Mavericks start out of the gate so bad. That's why that they came out of this game and they were down 17-11. Brunson checks in and Luka checks out. The Mavericks were down 19-25. They were down by 6, and then all of a sudden, the Mavs take the lead with the second unit. The second unit has really handled things for the Mavericks, and they just were not able to handle it enough for this game, because the Bulls' offense was just so great in this game, and the Mavs' defense just was not there. Couldn't stop them from 3 at all this game. There's a lot of different factors why they lost this game, but it all starts with Luka, and starts with Luka not being that great. Now, I'll take up for Luka in one thing. He probably should have had 15, 17 assists. Guys are still missing a ton of open shots too. The Mavericks shot 36% from 3 total, but Dorian was 1 of 5. Bullock was 0 for 4, and I think all of those shots were wide open. I think every single one of those 9 threes those two guys took were all wide open. They missed them all. Luka was 1 of 6 as well. And if those guys are going to shoot 2 of 15 combined from 3, you're not going to win many games, because the Mavericks offense relies on those guys hitting those open threes, because they're going to get those open threes. And they did, and they missed those shots. So, we blame Luka for sure, and Luka did not play well. He was average and all that. But those guys also, if they hit those threes, this is a different game, and maybe the Mavs overcome some of those other problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still trying to figure themselves out offensively. I mean, they only attempted 33 threes in this game. Like, that's not a ton, especially in today's game. Like, they only had one, the 3-point attempts off the bench tonight, 3. 3 3-point attempts off. Well, actually, you count Reggie Bullock in that. Yeah. You count Reggie Bullock in that 7. They only had 1 made 3 off the bench tonight, and that was the pull-up 3 by Sterling Brown that was just trying to get the 2 for 1, and it is actually one of those, hey, bad shots, but, they go in. Cool. But it's like you have to have more than that, but it's the whole, all right, if you're not going to shoot a ton of threes and you're not going to hover around that 53 point per game mark, then you have to be really taking advantage down low, and we didn't see that either, and we're not getting that from KP. And even Luka, there was after the game tonight, maybe even the kid, I know Luka was asked about it, of, hey, like, how can basically when how can you be more effective in the post whenever the out shot's not falling? So I think it was Luke Askew.
Yeah,
Did I say it right?
Askew. Yep.
Askew
Friend of
from
the
Mavs
pod.
Moneyball who asked that question. It was a good question. So yeah, I mean they have to find one, right? Like if you're not shooting all the threes and you're not low, then what's the answer of this?
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those things. We'll talk about how the Mavericks are struggling, and we'll get into more of that coming up. By the way, we're dealing with a storm here in Dallas, so if you're watching on YouTube and you're like, dang, this sucks today, well, it's because our connection is not super great right now. We're dealing with it. We're trying to make it the best show we can, but we'll talk more about the Mavericks coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about betonline.ag. It's the fastest and easiest way to put down some money on sports. College basketball is out, and there's a ton of props, tons of lines, all kinds of things you can get on betonline.ag. Use the promo code locked on, and you will get a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. You can deposit $100 and you'll get $50 extra that you can just play with, and you can put down some money. You can put down some money on college basketball, NBA. You can put down some money on some of the games coming up. If you're looking at Christmas Day games, they still got some. Mavs still 5.5-point underdog against the Jazz. I don't know if that line will probably go up a little bit. So maybe this is the time to pick Jazz 5.5 points. Maybe this is the time to get into it. If you're feeling real down and bad on the Mavs, you might as well make some money off of it. The Jazz are only a 5.5-point favorite against the Mavs right now on Christmas Day.
Oh.
So if you're feeling down bad about the Mavs, maybe make some money off of it. BetOnline.ag, promo code locked on. Get a 50% welcome bonus. Promo code locked on. All right, Isaac Harris. Let's get into some more about this game. Again, the Dallas Mavericks fall to the Chicago Bulls. 117-107. 10-point loss. It felt worse than that. I mean, the second half, the Mavericks were able in garbage time a little bit. Luka, I think Luka padded stats a little bit at the end there, getting some buckets. It was a lot worse going into like the end of that fourth quarter where the Mavericks were down by like 20 at one point. But we talked about how this team they're not taking a ton of threes. They're not really taking a ton at the rim. They're getting a lot of mid-range stuff. And not a lot of players on this team are successful in the mid-range as of right now. And it feels like this team it doesn't have an identity offensively right now. It doesn't feel like they have one at all. And you can point to all the things before. Okay, missing threes. Okay, Luka's not been great. Okay, Porzingis is not able to get his own shot right now. There's just tons of things you can point to, but it also does feel a little bit like design that the Mavericks aren't going the same direction. The Mavericks have their offense is just not cohesive right now. There's lots of just different factors, but it doesn't feel like this team is going in a direction as of right now.
Yeah, it feels like it's like the little the kid toy, when you have the box with the different shapes and you have the blocks that are with each shape, and it feels like you have a roster or you have a team that is like the circle, and it's like my son is trying to cram that circle into the triangle spot of the block. It just feels like they're trying to force an offensive system with a team. We laugh about Ball Vargas' tweets sometimes during the game because it's almost sometimes like he hate watches the Mavs. So, I think you look up the stats on it, a little bit more tweets from Bob during Mavs losses than wins.
Do we have any stats on that?
But he actually made a few points tonight. That's like, it's important to remember when everybody's like throwing a fit about the roster and the talent on the roster, which I agree it needs some upgrading.
Yep.
But he made a point. He's like, he quote tweeted someone and said, "Oh, you mean the same roster who set the record for the most efficient offense 2 seasons ago? Almost all the same guys on the team." But the point is he was making is like, man, the shot selection, the shot, I forgot the exact word he used that on that
shot profile is what he called it.
Shot profile, and that it's much different with this system, and they still haven't figured out spacing. I mean, how many times tonight that Luka would try to drive, and it's like a halfway fast break, and then KP's like going to the basket, and it's like, what's going on? Or there was a fast break in which Luka stole it from Vucevic. Vuce. We'll talk about Vuce in a little bit, but Vuce tried to post Luka. Luka reaches around, steals it, takes off on the fast break. And instead of like stuff that I feel like we talk about all the time from a young age, especially now, is go to the corners. Like whoever doesn't have the ball, go to the corners. And Dorian just ran straight down the court, like right in front of Luka, just straight down. And it's like, and then it was just like clogged up. Luka ends up getting fouled, and it's just, that's the type of stuff. It feels like they don't really know. They're either confused on spacing stuff or where to go and what they're running. And it's just, they're still tinkering with everything. And I hope, positive hat on right now, I hope it's just tinkering and confusion. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that in game 62, we're not seeing the same exact stuff happening.
Okay, well, let me go negative hat off, right? Like, I took my positive hat off, and I'm just gonna take it off. This team doesn't seem well coached to me right now. It doesn't, all the stuff about, it doesn't seem like they have a direction. Doesn't seem like guys know where they're supposed to be. It doesn't seem like they're being well coached right now. That there's a lot of vision there for this offense, and that's the question I have now. We're 11 games in, and I still am not sure. And I think that's sort of what Bob Bulgaris was trying to get to in some of those tweets tonight, talking about shot profile and where the shots are coming from and how it was designed and all that. That's all coaching, right? It has to be. It's not just Jason Kidd. It's the rest of the coaching staff. It's Igor and all of them. Like it's everybody on the coaching staff so far. It's rotations, it's offensive scheme, it's all that has been pretty bad so far. The Mavericks offense, 106.3 points per 100 possessions last year and the year before that, with what everyone has said, and I agree, is the exact same roster, basically the exact same roster, 10 points per 100 possessions worse than they were the last 2 years on average combined. So it just seems like they've taken a dip here, and they have not sacrificed, let's say, like, oh, they're not taking as many threes. They're doing something else well. They're not doing something else well either. And it doesn't seem like they're trying to force something else either. It's not like they're like, all right, we're going to try post ups. Okay, we're going to try this. We're going to try a whole bunch of like sets where we're running a bunch of play. It doesn't seem like they're trying any of that. And I'm just not sure exactly what else they're trying to do. And so they've really attempted to do what the Mavericks have attempted to do in the past badly.
And the opposing team they have zero respect for Kristaps Porzingis. Like zero. I mean,
None, yeah.
The Chicago Bulls tonight in the second half, even into the fourth quarter, was running Elise Johnson out as the center. They started off the game, like with Javonte Green, guarding KP, and then they take him out, and it's Tony Bradley guarding KP. Fourth quarter, like I said.
Yeah. Elise Johnson, 6'8". He's not like a backup center, but he was their backup center in this game. And it's because they don't have a lot of guys.
How many inches does KP have on him? 7 inches, 8 inches? But I don't even want to go down that whole conversation again because one, KP had a good statistical night tonight. Two, we've had this conversation so many times before that teams are going against Dallas, they're going against Kristaps Porzingis, and they're saying we don't care. Like, we don't care. We will put a Derek Jones Jr. on you. We'll put an Elise Johnson on you at 6'7". We will put a Josh Hart on you like New Orleans did. Like, A lot of these teams are just saying, I don't care, because they're just daring Dallas and Porzingis to try to take, I'm doing air quotes right now, even if you can see it through the storm, of the mismatch that you might have. And it's really, really frustrating. I'm trying to be nice and positive right now.
Yeah, like right now, KP can finish stuff. He can finish plays. He can, if he's spot up somewhere, he can finish something. He can finish, an alley-oop. He can hit a catch and shoot shot, but he is not creating his own shot in any way. And when your second best player cannot create his own shot in any way, that's a big problem, right? That's why there's so many people asking for a secondary creator and all that. Why the explosion of Brunson this season has been so big.
Yeah, and he can't get position. Like, that's one of the biggest things with him is. Yeah. He can't get position, and even when he does have like a halfway, position, he does a fadeaway at 7-3, and it's like, all right, just go up. Now, I do want to praise him for a second too. Like, he was 9 of 16 tonight, 56% from the field. He was 2 of 3 from his threes.
He's finishing stuff, right? Like he's finishing plays. It's all like that stuff's positive. It's just when Luka is not shooting well and he's not creating his own offense, when KP can't function in the offense as somebody that is like an island almost and can create his own shot, then there's no one else to help him finish. You know what I mean? Like, he has to be set up for so many things. Then, and the Mavericks offense isn't setting things up right now. So, so that's why he's ineffective right now, which is, even though he's putting up good stats. I don't know.
I don't really have too much more to add. He's healthy. He's playing. At least that's a positive on that. And I thought his defense was pretty fine tonight. There's some moments where I'm like, he's playing some pretty good defense. That post up or when Vooch posted him up, you talking about that play?
No, that was not good. No, there's definitely some moments when he didn't, but I thought there was moments when he did play.
They started the game tonight, and this is just a testament to the front line, how teams respect Dallas's front line too, saying, all right, Vooch, hey, go to work, bro. Like, I mean, he had 7 points in the first 6 or 7 minutes, 4 boards. I mean, yeah, he only finished tonight with 18 or something, but it felt like Vooch could just get whatever he wanted tonight.
Yeah, all right. Coming up, let's get into more. We'll talk about some positive things. There are some good things. The Mavericks, had some good moments in this game.
Tim Hardaway.
Let's end on that. Yeah, let's end on some good moments right there the Mavericks had.
Willie.
We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the one player that should not play anymore for the Mavericks. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by McDonald's, serving the community proudly since 1965. Long time. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where you can go and hang out. It's a place where you can get, Wi-Fi that is dependable. Maybe we should have done our show from a McDonald's because the Wi-Fi may be better than what you're seeing right now on YouTube because of this storm. And we could have got fries. We could have got McFlurries, all that kind of stuff you can get at McDonald's. Go check it out. After a game, after you're hanging out with people, you can go to McDonald's. You always know it's dependable. There's one all over the place. Search where you can find a McDonald's and head there. McDonald's, we are loving it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
All right, Isaac Harris. So we've talked about a lot of negatives. We talked about some of the problems with this team. We've broken it all down. There's one more thing I want to go in the negative route. Willie Cauley-Stein should not play again. He did not show up this season so far, and it just seems like he's elsewhere. Maybe he became a new dad, and maybe he's distracted by that. Can totally understand that, right?
I don't want to draw that comparison.
Okay, well, I mean. Okay.
But he's really struggling though.
He's really struggling. And it just doesn't look from all the ways we've talked about the Mavericks being aimless and not knowing where they are. I feel like Willie has been one of those. And so I think it's time for Moses Brown. And I think we've said this before, but yeah, I'm ready for that change to happen. Because at least Moses Brown will run fast, he'll try hard, he'll go for boards, he'll go for blocks, like he'll defend hard, and he'll work his ass off. So I'm ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've said this over the past week or so. It became like the Moses Brown stuff by some fans became like Josh Green last year of anytime the Mavericks lost, why isn't Moses Brown playing?
Yeah, he's like the answer.
Yeah, like Moses was, Lou Alcindor at, UCLA or something. Like he's not that. So
he is like every 15 games, right? He'll get a 2020.
But and I kind of was making a joke about my guys like Moses Brown, it's not like Moses is gonna win you the title. Like I love Moses, wish him the best in that, but we've reached the point now that what the minutes that you are giving Willie, there's no reason Moses shouldn't get those. Like it's just 5 minutes. Like you can throw Moses out there for 5 minutes. Heck, if they just said like tomorrow Willie's not gonna play and we'll at least just put Boban in there, but I at least want to see for 5 minutes that you're giving Willie a game, 6 minutes. Let's just see Moses, mainly because it can't be any worse than what we're watching. It's just not. Yeah, Willie's just really struggling right now, and in every facet of the game.
I was also confused why Frank Ntilikina didn't get more time. I thought he had a good first run in the first half, and then we just didn't see him again until garbage time at all.
I mean, Sterling Brown got run, and I thought he played a good game. I mean, he played 16 minutes in this game, and he had hit a 3 in this game, hit the the pull up thing. He guarded DeRozan a little bit. DeRozan didn't have a very good game tonight. 7 of 20, 0 of 3 from 3. I thought Sterling Brown played decent off the bench, honestly.
Yeah, both of those guys, Sterling and Frank Ntilikina. But the Mavericks had that really good stretch in the end of the first quarter, in the beginning of the second quarter, where they actually took the lead and they were looking really good. That's kind of the only time the Mavericks looked good this whole game, basically, was that run. Both those guys were in there for that.
And Reggie's just got to hit his shots too. I mean,
that's it. I mean,
he had some open shots.
Oof. Yeah, that was bad. And we also, I think, should mention Luka defensively was not great in this game either. Lonzo hit 7 threes.
Let's talk about the Bulls. Let's end this on talking about the Bulls.
Okay.
So
that was all the positives. We said a couple of good.
I don't have anything else. What?
Tim Hardaway Jr. was the only guy hitting his shots. 5 of 9 from 3, 21 points for him. The Mavericks, I guess, wasted a good Tim Hardaway Jr. game, because usually when he shoots well, the Mavericks always win. But yeah, he was good in this game.
Good on good on offense. Hit 5 threes in this game. Tim does struggle on the perimeter guarding people, but good offensive game from him tonight. You look at Chicago. the Caruso signing, did you know that the Lakers lowballed him? I didn't know if you knew that.
I did know that. I was very well aware.
I know the Levine DeRozan has been fun with Mavs fans, like, oh, fit and all that. Lonzo is the guy. Like, if you put Lonzo on this Mavericks team, okay, I got a text tonight, and I got a text tonight for somebody that said, hey, if you could add any player in the league making under $30 million a year to this Mavericks team, who would it be? And when you look
at rookie deal,
still a rookie deal, but I mean, the cutoff, I mean, the top one I thought of, I was like, all right, Jalen Brown, I would add him to this team.
Zion.
No, I would not add Zion to this
John
team.
Morant.
Not over. Do like John Morant, but like you look, just go to Hoops Hype and look at players making under 30. You know, it's Jalen Brown. For me, it's Bam. I like both those guys. I'm just trying to tell you right now, if we're making that list, Lonzo is pretty high up that list. Like Lonzo is definitely top 10 on that list of players making under 30 that I would like on this team. I mean, he would solve your defense thing next to Luka. He would be another ball handler next to Luka. He can shoot it really well. Hats off to that guy, man. Like I am
becoming a better shooter.
Yes, his shot looks so much better. What about Luka's praise to him after the game? I mean, you don't see really an expanded answer from Luka, and Luka was asked about Lonzo from Dwayne, and he's like, hey, Luka. I mean, he said Lonzo. I think he heard, in his first few years, he heard the hate, he got from on about his shot, and he used that to get better. And I love Lonzo's game, and I'm not gonna lie, I just watched the Bulls. I'm like, I'm super jealous. I wish he was on the Mavericks.
I feel like there's another multiverse where the Mavericks didn't go Tim Hardaway Jr. and Reggie Bullock in free agency, and they went Lonzo and Caruso, and it's a completely different team.
Oh my gosh, that would be.
That's a
what if.
That's what. Well, I mean, yeah, we don't even know Dallas's interest in Lonzo. A guy, tweeted at me tonight. I have fun with it, but he said, we could have gotten Lonzo, and I was like, dang, really? We could have? I didn't know that. And and so, but it's we don't even know if there's any interest. It feels like we heard Lonzo Chicago rumors for I don't know since we've been in high school or something. But
yeah, I mean they're getting like they could be getting fined for how quickly they signed him, right?
Yeah. but hats off to them though. Like their whole I mean Lonzo Caruso signings. You know how much I love Ayo. Like he was my shot in the dark guy in the draft towards the end of the first. I thought he gave him some decent minutes. He was minus 15 tonight, but he's been playing good for them this season. They're a fun team. And in the words of Tim Hardaway, the Bulls are back.
The Bulls are back. Yeah, they make that trade for Vooch last year. Like this team is a bizarro Mavs team almost, because what if the Vooch thing, what if the Porzingis thing worked like the Vooch thing is working now for the Bulls? And then that's your basis of Levine and Vooch and then Luka and Porzingis. And then you're like, okay, then we actually get free agents and and all that. They just happened to work out for the Bulls where they were able to get guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're a big market. We don't think about Chicago as a big market, but it's the third biggest market out there.
Big market. I mean, you look at, I'm not even going to attempt to say their GM's last name, but I mean, when you look at the roster, when he took over that team, I'm pretty sure it was just Levine.
Karnisovas. I forgot his name.
There you go. It was on the tip of my tongue. And I mean, he's pretty much just remade this whole roster since he took over, and just hats off to him for just swinging for it and saying, hey, we're just going to swing for this. I had hesitations on their defense stuff. Caruso is such a huge part of that game. Caruso's a good player. I know. I mean, I feels like everybody knows that by now, but if you didn't think he was a good, solid role player, then
he's not just a meme.
Yeah, he's not just a meme. He's a good, solid role player. And DeRozan's been having a good season. He didn't have the best of night tonight efficiency-wise, but what about that play he did on Porzingis and maybe Dorian at the end of the first or second quarter? It was nasty, man. It was fun. Yeah. The spin move up and under one scoop hunt, under KP. It was wild.
Yeah. So there you go. Team successful in free agency. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
There you go. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down more about the Mavs. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, where you can get everything you need for betting over the weekend from Lee Sterling and your boy Q. Go check it out anywhere you listen to podcasts. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.